We are told that points A and B have coordinates these. So we have A as a coordinates 2, comma negative 3, and then we have B as coordinates 7 and what? And 9. And then we are told respective. Respective means that when they are mentioned like this in fact, let me just explain something here for some people. When the points are mentioned away from the actual point, to know which one is represented by the other one, it is this word that follows. So respectively means that A is the first. So therefore, this first point here belongs to A. And then B is the second. Therefore, the second point here belongs to B. And that's what we interpolate. So we're saying find the length of AB. So to find the length of AB, we need to use the distance formula. And so this, since there are 2 points, we're going to say this is x1 and y1. This is x2 and y2. And then we're going to say the length using the distance formula, the length of AB is equal to the square root of here, it's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, it doesn't matter whether you use x1 minus x2 or y1 minus 2. What is very important is be consistent. The first one that we start with here, that's the first one we start with that. So if you start with x1 minus x2, even here to be y1 minus y2. That's what is key. So let us substitute these values. So x2, we already know is 7. So it's 7 minus 2 squared plus y2 is 9 minus negative 3. That one squared. Okay, and so this will give us, this one here is going to give us 5 squared plus this one here minus times negative will give us positive. So 9 plus 3, that is 12. So it will give us 12 what? 12 squared. And so this is the 25 plus 144. And when you add those two, you get 169. So what is the square root of 169? What is the square root of 169? The square root of 169 is 13. Some of these values need to be in your head. And so we are saying, therefore, that the length of AB is 13 units. Now, notice I've said units. Why? Because if you look at the question, it doesn't state which coordinates, which units are involved. There are not millimeters stated, there are no centimeters stated, there are no kilometers, they just state. So, since we are talking about length, and length is always measured in units, we include a unit issue here. Given that y is equal to 4x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5x, find dy dx. So dy dx here is very straightforward. Dy dx here is very straightforward. So dy dx is equal to, we multiply 3 times 4x, then we subtract 1 from the power, then minus 2 times 3x, we subtract 1 from the power, then plus 1, because remember that this is to the power 1, okay, multiplied by 5, x to the power what? 0. Let me write it like that just for some people. I know that because when you subtract, when you say 1 minus 1, the answer is that 0. That's the power. Now, anything raised to the power 0 is equal to what? To 1. And that's why this one, for some people, they don't know why it becomes just a constant. So if you multiply this, you get 12x squared minus 6x, and then plus what? Plus 5. Why does it become constant? Because of this thinking. y varies directly as x and inversely as the square of z. And y is equal to 8 when x is equal to 4 and z is equal to 1. Find the value of constant. So let's start with the value of constant here. Now, before we go to the value of constant, let's connect this. We are told that y varies direct as x. Okay, so varying direct as x, that is 1. And then the same y varies inversely as the square of z. So z what? Squared. So now we can combine these in one sentence. We say y varies as x over the square root of what? Of z. But then to make this as an equation, we introduce the k. And so we have y is equal to kx over z squared. Okay. Now we are given that y is 8 when x is 4 and z is equal to 1. So I want to find the value of whatever. So y is 8, x is equal to 4, and z is equal to 1. So we substitute into this one. So we have 8 is equal to k times 4 over 1 squared. So here we have 8 is equal to 4k. And so when we divide by 4, both sides, we find that our k is equal to 2. That is the value of k. So usually here we are just finding the value of k. Now in the next one, we are going to write this very equation here with the value of 2, not k, because we have found it now. So the next one is saying find the value of y when x is 9 and z is equal to 3. So let's move on. Our equation is y is equal to kx over z what? Squared. But we have just found that our k is 2. So therefore our equation becomes 2x over z squared. Now, to find the value here, we are given x is 9 and z is 3. So y is equal to 2 times x is 9 over z, which is 3, what? Squared. So as you can see, if you are able to see from the calculation that 3 squared will be 9. So y is equal to 2 times 9 over 9. And divide this, we get a y is equal to 2. So that is our solution there. Okay. Now, the other one is saying we need to find for what? We have to find the values of z. Remember, again, the values come. The s there means it will be more than 1. When y is 3 and x is 54. Okay. Y is equal to 2x over z squared. So we are finding the value of z. We are given y. What is y? Y is 3. 2 times what? 54 over z squared. Okay, so what we can do is we say 3 over 1 is equal to 2 times 54 over z squared. Now, some people might say, but why aren't you simply multiplying the 54 times 2? Don't worry. You need to maintain it in such a way that it's in simpler form for you to easily calculate. Remember, this is paper 1. So when we multiply these, we have 3z squared is equal to 2 times 54. And then we divide by 3. So 3z squared divided by 3 is equal to 2 times 54 divided by 3. This and that we divide. So we get z squared is equal to 3 divide there. 3 into 5 is 1, remainder 2. We bring it here. 3 into 24 is 8. Okay. So here we have 2 times what? 18. Now what is 2 times 18? 2 times 18 is 36. And so like we said, this means that it will give us two values. So we find the square root of both sides. So the square root of z squared here is equal to plus or minus the square root of what? 36. So the 2 and the square root, so z is equal to plus or minus 6, which means our answer therefore is z is equal to negative 6 and z is equal to 6. These are the two finding answers. Now we are told in the diagram below, ABC is a straight line. That ABC is a straight line. Angle BCD, this one is 90 degree. And then tan of angle. Remember the middle number, the middle letter is always an alpha. That's what the angle is. So tan of angle ABD, which is this one here. Okay, the tan of this angle here. We are given that the tan of angle ABD, this angle is equal to negative 3 over what? Over 4. And so then they're saying, find the length of BD. The length of BD, which is this one here. That's the one we're trying to find. We are going to use the information that has been given. Now, let us use information of triangle. Let us use information of angles. We know that we have what is called the 4 quadrants. This is from 0 to 90, and then this is 180, and then this is 270, and then it comes back here to 360. So any angle that is here has an equivalent angle here. It may not have the same value, but the two angles added together. For example, if you have an angle theta, the angle here will be 180 minus theta. And these two angles will have the same ratio. So if it is tan theta, we are going to say that tan theta will be equal to tan 180 minus theta. But then, what it comes to be different is the sign. We know that here, all silver teacups, So meaning that here, tangent is positive, here, tangent is negative, and so it will be negative there. So meaning that this angle here is the negative of this one. So we are saying that tan A, B, D is equal to the negative of tan C, B, D. Okay, that's what we are saying. So since this one is a negative value, this one is going to be positive. And so therefore we are saying our tan of CBD is going to be minus then negative 3 over 4, which gives us 3 over 4. So the ratio is the same, but positive. So now, this, how do we find? So if the ratio here here, now there is something that you need to see here. Very, very important. You need to see this, very, very important. Remember that we always say that tan. Let's do this. When we have a right angle triangle, if we are talking about this angle here, this becomes the opposite side to this angle. This is the adjacent where it sits. And then this is the what? The hypotenuse. Why hypotenuse? Because it's direct to the 90 degree. So when we are talking about tan of angle theta, it's going to be the opposite over the adjacent, which is this one here over this one there. So if we are given that our tan of CBD is equal to 3 over 4, we are saying there is the opposite side over the adjacent side. So using that information, we can now redo this. We can say that if our angle is here, this is 4 and this is 3. Therefore, it's easy for us to calculate this length here. What are we using? We are using now the what? The Pythagoras theorem, where we are saying, let's take this one. This is B, D, and this is what? This is C. So we are saying BD is equal to the square root of BC squared plus CD squared, okay? Which is giving us BC is 4, so 4 squared plus that one, which is 3 squared. And so we have BD is equal to the square root of 16 plus 9. And so BD is equal to 25. Therefore, and then BD is equal to 5. Now, somebody will say, but the others you were putting a positive and a minus. How come here you're just putting a positive straight? Remember, we are calculating about the length. And length is never negative. And so we only concentrate on the positive sign. And so therefore, the length of BD is 5 what? 5 units. And that's our answer.